Greetings, everybody. Hi, everyone. Welcome to another webinar, another video. This time it's about videos. And we're delighted that you could all join us today. We realize that most of you have seen way too many webinars this year, way too many videos, but we're coming to the end of the year, so let's talk about video marketing. It's here to stay. It's important. While the last of you are logging on, and just I see a lot of you coming on just right now, let me do some quick introductions. If I can get my mouse to work, here we go. Quick introductions of who we are today. We'll be talking about video marketing and how video marketing can help leverage your growth, your exports, your sales, your brand and business. My name is Susanna Hardy, and I'm Chief Content Officer at IBT Online. And I'm really delighted to be joined by two of my colleagues today. Ava Mitzi is our video marketing manager, specializing in just videos. That's all she does, just imagine. And Andrew is a business development manager, and he has a wealth of information and expertise in this field as well. So I'm really pleased that they could both join me today to talk about video marketing, how to use that on the international scene, and how best we can use that for our websites, for our online marketing, and to grow our sales. So just a quick word also about IBT. IBT Online, we've been around for a while, been around since 2002 actually, and we've helped a lot of companies. We've done over I think we've done websites in over 40 countries. Over 25 languages, over 1,500 online global programs, so it's a well-trodden path. And we're really, really proud. So I think last month or 2 months ago, we actually received the E Award, President's E Award. The President's E Award is the highest recognition for a U.S. company to have in assisting exports. So we're pretty pleased about that. Today's agenda is really very much right on videos right from the start. We're talking about sort of the growth of videos, particularly in 2020, and what that's meant for marketeers all around, and then how we can use these globally, both in terms of the spread of it and how you can integrate it into the international sales and marketing strategies that you might have. Then Ava's going to talk us through also some of the best practices for really engaging videos, making sure that your video quality is good for your websites, for your marketing. And then I'm going to talk briefly about the online global programs and sort of a helping hand for exporters in today's world, and that a lot of states are putting money behind this as well. So there are resources for you. And then I'm finishing up with some Q&A period. Please do drop your questions into the chat box. We have reserved time at the end for some questions. There will also be a really, really, really brief poll at the end of this. So we would appreciate if you could just fill that out quickly. It's I think less than a minute long. So it's really a short little poll, but it does help us make sure that we're getting the right issues that interest you, that we're getting the right educational webinars that we want to. So with that, let's start talking about how videos can help you reach your clients and your prospects anywhere, anytime. For that. Here we go. I guess one of the first things we wanted to really mention was just that throughout 2020, and thank heavens it's coming to an end, we've talked with a lot of companies about their main priorities. Business priorities, and they've talked about cash flow and supply chains and looking after and the health of employees and things. But one of the biggest concerns has always been how to generate sales, how to generate your exports and grow your business, and that's really where the online tools part comes in. Online tools, video marketing, websites, social media marketing are all about generating sales. Whether it's lead generation, brand awareness, it's all about generating sales. And for us, your international side, your exports, and therefore growing your international business. So that's really what we're going to talk about today. And for those of you who have been on our webinars before, this is something you've seen as well. I just want to pick up the global numbers, and it's worth a quick reminder of that. So by the end of 2020, this was taken early October 2020, 60% of the global population, of the world population, 4.66 billion of us, are online, are using the internet. 60% of the world's population is using the internet. And they're using it nearly 7 hours a day. So the bulk of their waking day is spent online every day. This has seen a phenomenal growth this year. It's up over 7.5%. That's equivalent to like the population of the United States, who came online, grew this year. Previous to 2020, the growth rate of the online was growing, but it was growing more like 2 or 3%. But the pandemic has really pushed this, and one of the key drivers of this growth, really, of this digital growth, has been social media, which grew at an average of about 12.5% in 2020, and much of that was fueled, in fact, by video. So, if I said that 4.66 billion people are online, 4 billion of them are using social media. And if I said that nearly 7 hours a day are spent online, something like 3 to 4 hours are spent using social media, and much of that is on video. And on this slide here, I mean, if you look at the social media channels used for B2B, YouTube is the number one for that. It was 51% of companies for B2B using social media channels, YouTube, for watching videos about companies. So this is not just for, this is in no way just for B2C. Videos is absolutely in time with B2B companies. And it's a fantastic way as well to engage everywhere in the world, as we'll see in this presentation today. So I think it's I think worth mentioning again how much these trends have been accelerated throughout 2020 because of the pandemic. Now, we saw videos coming up, a lot in the last few years. It's been a consistent growth. Cisco, which is in a sense the backbone, makes the backbone of these videos. I mean, it makes the backbone of the internet in a sense with its systems. They had a projection report which they put out in 2016 when they felt that global video traffic would grow by 3 times between 2016 and 2021. That's already actually been achieved this year. Their 2021 and 2021 projections were achieved midway between 2020. At the moment, we're looking at about up to the projections are that in 2 years' time, if this continues, 82% of all the created content online will be in the form of video. And I've got that little quote at the top of this slide about every second 1 million minutes of video content crosses these networks, and that comes from Cisco as well. So this is just to show you, that this is just exploded. It's become the go-to medium across the world for that, and shows no sign of slowing. And in fact, if we look since of 2020, if we look on that just for this year, video consumption has grown by 80%. Video watching is now reaching basically 100 minutes a day globally as an average. And I've got some of the statistics there about sort of, how much we're all watching Netflix. And then of course, Zoom has become a word. 18 months ago, you zoomed in and out. You didn't have it as a verb. Now it's more a noun. Now you do a Zoom. It's actually become a normal word in everyday language. And the graph here, the bar chart here on the left of your slides, that's just looking at the expected year-on-year subscriber rate for Netflix in North America. And note that on the international side is growing even more, growing by about 30%. And again, this is not just people sitting down on their couch watching reruns of Friends. This is absolutely about e-commerce and about the growth of the online buying and so on, and not just for B2C, but B2B as well. So this is just a little chart that shows you, I don't know if you can see it very well, but a little chart that shows the amount of times that people have clicked on buy online searches. So the words buy online, went from 18,000 to 28,000 at the beginning of the pandemic, just in terms of the number of searches. That's just for the USA. So again, some pretty amazing numbers there about video consumption, and video consumption has become really mainstream for a lot of our marketing strategy, and for companies throughout the world. Internationally, it is actually showing an even stronger growth. If we look at the Asia Pacific region, it's more like about 40% growth. Middle East and Africa, about 55%. And globally, over 50% of video watching is via mobile devices. And that's, I think, the other important point to recognize here. It is a very mobile-enabled market activity. With that, I'm going to launch my first poll just to make sure we're all on the same track here. We thought we'd just ask you, have you all watched more videos this year? Have you watched videos, a lot of videos this year? If so, have you watched a few, a lot, definitely? Have you kept it to a reasonable level? About the same? Some of you are just too embarrassed to say, which is great. Anyway, thank you very much. The majority have kept it to a reasonable level of watching. Good for you. As I said, some of you are too embarrassed to say. With that, I'm going to close this poll and hand over to Ava to talk a little bit more about videos for all occasions and globally. Ava?
Thank you. Yeah, so I'm going to lead you on to videos for all occasions globally. So as for anything online, you start by identifying your buyer persona and their journey, and videos are no different. And remember that your buyer persona differs across different markets, and that's why you need to localize your website and your video and your social media to make sure that you are engaging with the local buyer persona in the way that you want and when they want, saving you and your prospective buyer a ton of time. So videos should be really an important part of your sales funnel, but they need to be strategically placed throughout the buyer's journey so that videos can be an asset to your sales funnel because they really highlight the unique qualities of your business, your products, as well as your team. Today, 90% of customers say that videos help them make buying decisions. And by using videos at key customer touchpoints, reps can answer important questions and make compelling arguments for your products or your services. So, by using video at key customer touchpoints, reps can answer important questions, and you have to be careful because videos are not all one and the same. You have to be thoughtful about what types of videos you're making for the different stages of the buyer's journey. So someone who is in the attract stage, who knows very little about your company, will need a video that is quite broad, whereas someone who is further down the line of the journey needs a more detailed or informed video. And here are a few examples of different video options for the different stages. So firstly, we have attract. These are brand videos that can share your company values and your mission, or thought leadership videos that establish you as a source of industry insight. Next is engage. These can be case studies and referral videos, in-depth educational videos on a theme, or product demos. And then the third stage would be delight. These can be thank you videos, welcoming the clients on board from the team, onboarding videos, explaining a platform to get the client set up for success, and making sure that your videos are specified to the buyer's journey will ensure that you're creating very meaningful and impactful content for each stage of that journey. So here is an example of using a video for the attract stage. So it's about thought leadership and showcasing a unique selling point of the company rather than a full-on product video. Note that just like all social media assets, you need to measure and analyze your returns. For videos that aim to attract and build brand awareness, you might choose performance metrics like how long did the viewer spend on that video, Or did they proceed to a call to action like request more information? The important thing is to measure and analyze and learn from these postings. Here's another example, but this time the video is being used to promote attending a trade show, which hopefully is something we'll be doing again in 2021. This corresponds more to the engage stage of the buyer journey, as the video is promoting the company's attendance and encouraging the other trade show attendees to meet up at the trade show. The call to action attached could be a link to set up a meeting or connect on LinkedIn. Again, you want to have the metrics clearly defined and closely aligned to the objective. So in this case, you might want to analyze page views on the landing page URL, for example. So we know that we're living in a digital age with an increasingly visual nature, and it is changing the face of online communication. Today's social media algorithms are becoming more multimedia inclined, but you only have to scroll down any feed from Facebook to LinkedIn to see the true power of video. It really is everywhere. The algorithms and social channels are telling us that we love video and that we all consume video. So one of the trends that we're noticing in the marketing environment has been that videos are now the top way that prospects really want to engage with companies. And as you can see from this graph, taken from HubSpot, 54% of people say that their preferred medium of content from brands or businesses is in fact video. In this way, videos are the sought after medium of content that people are searching for, and they would much prefer to watch a short video than to read a PDF document. In fact, videos on landing pages are capable of increasing conversion rates by over 80%, and the mere mention of the word video in your email subject line increases opening rates by 19%. So people are more compelled to open that email if there is a video included. Furthermore, according to 88% of marketers, video marketing provides them with positive ROI. So these numbers really demonstrate how important videos are in the marketing and business world, and prospects want to learn more about your business clearly through videos. And this means that video needs to be central to your overall marketing strategy. Your video marketing strategy is central to your outreach, your campaign efforts, the way that you market your products, your communication via social media platforms, as well as shaping the online narrative of your brand and business. And now I'd like to turn over to Andrew to talk about how to integrate videos into your international sales and marketing.
Wonderful. Thank you for that, Ava. And so now we're going to be diving into integrating your videos into international sales and marketing. And as we go on to the next slide, it really all starts with your company's global outreach. And when you're going global, it's important to take a look at the brand consistency and how important that is from video to video or from website to website. Ava's going to be talking about this in a little bit as well, but in practice, this is what it could look like. Your domestic website can have its own communication policies surrounding it using different SEO or social media, and obviously video to draw in the clients and the prospects into your US website. But your international clients and your prospects, they need to have a similar online environment, or what we call as digital real estate. So just an example, let's just say you're targeting the French and the Brazilian markets. Then those are the two markets that deserve a dedicated and localized website that act as a springboard for your communications, as well as the accompanying SEO, the social media, and of course, the videos. It can all feed back to your US website, and it almost certainly should be all linked together. So your French and your Brazilian website should look and feel just about the same way as your US website, but only that it's localized for those markets. This also applies for your social media marketing and some of the video marketing as well. And the key point here is consistency all the way around. Then and only then can your online communications really be effective in each of those markets. So as a big takeaway for this slide here, it's just to make sure that you have localized websites as a priority first, and then follow with some of those online marketing and some of those videos to increase the traffic and increase the engagement and ultimately the conversions. And on to the next slide here, we're talking about video platforms, and ultimately, I mean, one of the first things that you want to do when you're planning your international video strategy is to decide on which platform is best for you and which platform you want to use. So this goes back to the discussion that we had about the buyer's journey and also making sure the user experience on your website is as good as it gets. For example, if you're uploading your videos to YouTube, you need to consider two different things. And the first one is, is YouTube the right channel for your buyer persona, the people that you're reaching out to? Like, for example, if that buyer persona is located in China, then it just wouldn't make sense because YouTube is actually outlawed in China. Or, if your buyer persona is a German engineer in Germany, their idea of YouTube is that it's the main purpose is for entertainment, and it's not really for serious product use or promotional efforts. And that's something that's widespread throughout the German market. And secondly, some questions that you can ask yourself is how best should the buyer persona experience that video, and how best they can engage with you through that video. So, do you need to encourage that buyer persona to proceed to the next step of the buyer journey? Are you engaging them to the next step and trying to get them to proceed with whatever CTA you have linked to that? As an example, does your video take your prospect away from the website and onto your YouTube channel? Sometimes this isn't always the best or the most wise choice, because it ends up causing your audience to potentially get lost in some of the other YouTube traffic, or getting caught up in other videos that might be better than yours or not even your products. In this scenario, it's probably better to have a pop-up video on your website so that they make sure that they stay on your site and they continue to engage with your website. So let's just take a quick look at some of the big global players for video. So YouTube is obviously the global leader, and it's so massive that you just can't ignore it. I think everybody here has heard of YouTube before or used YouTube before. And regardless of whether you're B2B or B2C, this is something that is going to be pertinent to your business. And it all starts with just looking at these stats. You can't ignore them. It's over 2 billion users. It's the second largest social network, and interestingly enough, it's also the second largest search engine next to Google. So to give you a sense of that importance, more than 500 hours of video are uploaded to YouTube every minute, and almost 5 billion videos are watched on YouTube every single day. So when it comes to this platform, YouTube offers a variety of interesting possibilities. And remember how I mentioned it was the second largest search engine? That only doesn't help with the SEO, but YouTube also has some of the highest referral rates of all of the social platforms. So also important, this platform has high conversion rates when it comes to paid advertising as well. And if you offer a complex product or service and you're looking for a way to sway your prospect to purchase, this is a great way to do so, and using videos. And also nowadays with iPhones, you don't need a huge production to make it an impactful video. Ava's going to be in a couple slides after mine. She's going to be sharing some tips on just this as well. And once you're ready and you're happy with the video that you've created, the next step is to translate it, to put some titles in at the bottom, and boom, there you go. You have an even larger audience that you can reach out to. The next video giant that we're going to be discussing here is going to be for Facebook. So you might have heard about this adage that if Facebook were a country, it were the largest on Earth, because they've got about 2.5 billion users spread across. And although they faced some controversy in some recent years and with their stance on political advertisements, their privacy, their algorithm, and how it dictates what the users see, it's still hugely relevant for online marketing, and including video marketing as well. If you're looking at international markets, Facebook has got to be vital for your promotional efforts. It's by far one of the biggest global players, and it exists in over 100 languages, and pretty much dominates the social media scene in a long list of countries across the globe. In fact, it's the single largest market, and the single largest market is not actually the US market, but it's actually in India. So just to say, the international opportunity is there for you. And for video, what's interesting here is that it's beginning to catch up to YouTube for the platform of choice for your video engagement, especially in some international markets like Latin America, as you can see in this bar chart here. Is very prominent in things like Latin America over YouTube. And as we transition into our third platform that we'll be speaking about, which is Instagram. And Instagram has about a billion active users monthly. They're the second biggest social media platform worldwide, and it takes over right after its parent company, Facebook. So one of the main reasons for its growth and popularity is its ability to use the graphics and the video to engage with the audience, and only the graphics and only video. So you might be wondering if Instagram is the right social media platform for your business, and the answer is always going to be yes. Instagram is a great choice for your businesses, whether B2B or B2C. In today's world, your businesses need to reach and interact with potential clients, and Instagram is the ideal platform to do so in a very video and image-oriented way. Over 80% of all Instagram users are following at least one business account, and that's not all Instagram has and that's not all. So just to say that Instagram has the highest engagement rate of the social media platforms, with 95 million posts and 4.2 billion likes per day. The users on this platform are always active. They're spending about an average of 53 minutes a day on this app and looking through the content. And there's about we've got about 3 different ways that businesses can use Instagram to engage with their audience. There's about 4 now, which I'll speak about. And that's going to be using your feed, using the story, IGTV, and the newest one is called Reels. So to start off with feed, the feed is just an image or a video that people see when clicking on your profile, or it's in their main feed or the explore section. The feed represents your official brand. So whatever you post in this profile is very important. So this makes having a professional looking layout with high quality pictures very essential. Now the second part is a story. So this, on the other hand, is how you can represent your unofficial social media brand. The story only stays on your profile for 24 hours and gives you a lot of room for different experimentation. You can use a story for lots of different content, like teasers or company products, polls, some behind the scenes, or, as we see in our example, it's here to promote new blog content. And the last options to public content on Instagram are going to be IGTV, which is their Instagram TV, and the new Reels. So to compare to the stories and the feed content, IGTV is relatively new and doesn't have the option to create ads. Nevertheless, it's a great way to publish longer videos. While Instagram feed only allows up to 60 seconds per video, IGTV videos allow for up to 60 minutes long. So in our example here, you can use it to upload instructions or how-to videos. And the second one was Reels, and this is a brand new platform to use, and it's really shaped to connect and engage with a younger audience through short videos, much like you see on something like TikTok. So much so that that Reels is almost identical to the short video giant that you know as TikTok. On this platform and using Reels, you're able to create short video clips using music, using ads, and the ability to go viral on what is seen as a very personal platform. And the next slide here, we're going to take you into a specific example, as I know that a lot of target markets are going to be in the Chinese market, and what video platforms look like there. And so, one of the biggest global exceptions is going to be China when it comes to video marketing and social media marketing. And it's because they have a totally different and unique online environment that you have to stay adapted to. For example, YouTube is banned in this country, and they have many other different video platforms to use, aside from this. And one good example is a platform called Douyin. So they have short clips, and they're more for informational snippets. And while there's another platform called Bilibili that's very popular with the younger audience, and people have a lot of comic and animation or some of the games that you can see within this country and within this market. And one of the most popular companies within China is called Youku. So in order to upload videos onto this website Youku, you do need to have a Chinese registration. So it's not completely an open platform in that sense, but it is to specifically the inner Chinese market. So it still makes a lot of sense to make the effort to get your videos watched in China, as the Chinese watch a huge amount of videos every day. It's really great for your website, and ultimately your YouTube library needs to be adapted. Typically, when we build a Chinese website for your clients, we're going to be creating a Youku account and then upload their videos to the website, directly to the website. And next, we're going to be talking about the, how to localize your video for each of your markets. And so here we have an example of a Chinese website where we've created a corporate video that's available on Youku, and then we've actually added the plugin into their website. So we've added different subtitles here, and we find that it's pretty well accepted in markets across the world, including things like China. And people don't seem to mind if the video is in one language and they'd have to read subtitles and have good subtitles in their own home language. But and the alternative is to do a voiceover. So for example, here on the Arabics website, in either case, the most important thing is to make sure that it engages with the local buyer persona and their local buyer journey, so that you can be found, you can be understood, and you can be easy to do business with no matter where you are in the world. So I'll be expanding on this a little bit more as we get on, but with that, I'm going to be passing it back to Ava to talk about some best practices for videos and also share some really great tips on as far as production and editing.
Andrew, before you do so, and Ava, I'm just going to jump in here, and I just wanted to know, okay, we've asked everybody if they're watching more videos. I wanted to know as well if your company is using more videos this year. So is your company already using videos for video marketing? Are you using them domestically and internationally? Have you already taken that big step to go internationally? Domestically only? Are you thinking about it? Where are you on that spectrum of the video for your company? So this isn't sort of you personally, but just for your company. Just give you a little bit of feedback. Most of you have already jumped onto your mouse and voted. Thank you very much indeed. I would say there's a small proportion who are already using videos domestically and internationally. So about sort of 15% of you, the vast majority are using it only domestically. And then some of you are not quite ready there and are still thinking about it. But I appreciate those quick responses. Thank you very much. There'll be one or two more polls, but in the meantime, I'm going to hand back to Ava to talk a little bit more about how, great tips for best practice for great videos. Ava.
Yeah, thank you. So let's dive into creating great videos. So before you set up, record, or edit anything, start with a conversation about the purpose of your videos. Every decision made during the video creation process will point back to your video's purpose and what action you'd like your audience to complete after watching it. And of course, without a clear purpose agreed upon by your team, you'll find yourself in a whirlwind of reshooting, reframing, re-editing, and that just wastes a lot of time. So here are a few things to consider with your team before you get started. For example, you can consider who's your target audience. As we've discussed, what buyer persona are you targeting? What is the goal? Is it to increase brand awareness? Is it to sell more tickets? Is it to launch a new product? And then where is the video going to live? We've also discussed, where these different platforms are and what is best for you and your buyer persona. On Facebook, behind a landing page form, you should begin with one target location where your audience will discover the video. And when it's due, what's the budget, for example? What are the creative requirements? With your budget, skills, resources in mind, think about the creative roadblocks that might arise. For example, what are the limitations and what do you need? And what will constitute success for the video? You can choose several key performance indicators that correspond with your video goals, or hop down to the chapter on analyzing, measuring, and just tracking the metrics of each video. So these are some questions to consider before you get started. But now I'm going to run you through quickly some video production tips. So once you've discussed those elements in that slide, we're going to now dive into the production side. So here are some production tips to set you up for success when it comes to equipment, performance, production, etc. And unless you have a huge studio, a huge budget, and lots of cast and crew and fancy sets, this will definitely apply to you as it does to most companies, because we can all make video content that is still really impactful and does highlight our company, the services or the products, while we still work within the circumstances of, you know, limited sets, limited crew, and also not being in the same location, since so many of us now are just working from home. So the number one point here would be to talk about recording platforms. Platforms to use really depend on your situation and your budget. Obviously, if you have a camera and a tripod, that is absolutely fantastic, and just really start there. But if you're doing lots of recording with different people in different settings, as we now are because of COVID, then you need to think about the best platforms to record and download these particular clips. In terms of computer recording, we recommend using QuickTime, but you can also do a recording via iMovie, for example, which also has a built-in camera. For multiple people recording at the same time, Zoom has actually proven to be a great online platform because you can swap easily from the gallery view to the speaker view, which is a really great option because you can swap, for example, from two people talking in the same frame together and having a conversation to just one person being, you know, in center stage, becoming the main speaker. So in terms of video quality, you really need to think about the camera that you're using. If your laptop or computer has a really terrible webcam quality, then what might work better for you is doing the recording via your iPhone, and someone can call you on the Zoom and you can record it with your iPhone, because most phones today do have 4K quality cameras built in, which are really great. Our top two really pro tips on this particular point would be, first of all, buying a good quality webcam that you can attach to your computer, which might be a really good investment if you're going to be doing a lot of video recording, and they don't cost too much. And our second one would be, you can also do a Zoom call that will allow you to know when you speak, have a conversation with the person that you're doing the interview with, for example, but then you can actually press record on QuickTime on your computer so that the speaking will be synced, but thanks to the Zoom call, but you'll also have better video quality recording thanks to it being filmed on QuickTime. So that was just one pro tip that we found to be really useful and helpful. So my next point in terms of video production would be to think about your background. So try to create a nice background setting for your videos. Obviously, you work with what you have, but if you can clear a space, find a nice wall, maybe a few plants, a bookcase, whatever you can find. The key thing is to make sure it looks nice, not messy, and not overwhelmingly busy for the viewer. And in terms of camera positioning, you need to raise the computer or laptop using a stack of books, or whatever you have available to you, so that the camera is just above your eye level. It is much more flattering if the camera is pointing slightly downwards as opposed to slightly upwards at a subject. And you can also make sure that the camera or laptop is at least an arm's length away, and you want to have a little bit of space above your head and a little bit of space below so that you are basically center frame. The next thing to note is about lighting. So the one thing, really the key thing to remember about lighting is to make sure that the light is coming from in front of you and not behind. You need to find a spot in front of a window or set up your camera, laptop in front of a window. You don't want to be overexposed though, so that the whole frame is washed out. It's actually much easier to bring up the lighting in post-production than it is to bring it down. So find a place where the light is coming in from in front of you and not behind. And don't wash yourself out by adding way too much light into the space. My fourth tip would be concerning noise and sound. So obviously try to make sure that there is no noise and sound in the background, and this is easier said than done. However, there are still some things you can do to try and improve the sound quality, and number one would be to film in a place in your house with the least amount of background noise. Our pro tip would be, if you can't control the sound in your room, consider using headphones with a built-in microphone. And if you have some old iPhone headphones lying around, you can actually cut off the earpieces and turn them into a wired mic that you can then place on your shirt. And this will actually really improve the sound quality. It's very, at-home skills, but it does actually work. The number 5 of our production tips for today would be involved with scripts. So being authentic is really the best thing you can do. So as much as possible, stay away from a really strict script. Rather, just have an outline of what you're going to say and a very clear understanding of how you're going to say it. You can make an outline of what you're going to say and have it on your computer, and this can even be in bullet points. If you're reading from a script, make sure that your eye line still matches the camera as much as possible, and try to communicate to the camera as much as possible. In terms of speaking, our major tip would be to slow down, which we know is very difficult. And our second tip would be, if you make a mistake, it is better to do the whole take again, instead of trying to cut it up while you're speaking that take. So it's much better to run through the entire take several times as opposed to stopping and starting. You'll see that if you start and stop at multiple points in a take, you actually get quite disorientated and you lose the flow and the rhythm of how you're speaking. So if you make a mistake, just carry on and do a second take. And here, now that you kind of have created your videos using those production tips, it's very important in the editing process to brand and characterize your videos so that no matter where in the world you send these videos to, they are recognizable and linked to your company and your brand. So in this slide, we see that videos can clearly give your company an edge when it comes to presenting your services, your products, or even your team in international markets. But they can also act as a distraction or a deterrent if they do not conform to the characteristics of your brand. And it's therefore really, really important to mirror the characteristics, the colors, the themes that come from your company's mission, or your goals or your statement within the videos that you're creating, and of course to remain consistent. So the first thing to do would be to have a meeting so that everyone has agreed on the key characteristics of the format or presentation of your video. And this can include color, format, positioning of the logo, potentially even a jingle to open up the video, etc. All these key elements will impact the presentation of your video, and you need to make sure that these are in line with the values and the goals of the company. And once you have those elements together, so as I've said, colors, titles, like where you're going to put your logo, all of these key components, make sure that whatever video you're making, whether it's a product presentation or a client testimonial, these elements all remain the same. There must be some level of consistency throughout your videos so that your videos become signature with your brand and can be, in fact, recognizable and found in any international market that you put them in.
Ava, thank you so much. That's a huge amount of information. And thank you. I particularly liked also the fact that you have to have this brand consistency across your international markets. We wanted to sort of round up some of these things as well by talking about some of the, I guess, the help that's out there. There's a helping hand with the online global programs. We are really proud to say that we have developed these programs with a variety of U.S. states, so that there's this so-called online global programs in the states that are colored in yellow on the map on the left-hand side of your slide. And as I said earlier, I mean, these online tools are all about growing your sales. That's what it comes down to, whether that's about reaching new markets or growing brand awareness or helping a local in-market partner or a local distributor. It's all about growing your top line, your sales, your business, your brand, your exports, and that. So we've developed these online global programs with the U.S. states, these U.S. states that I mentioned here, and most of them have grants available as well that can apply for both the websites and the marketing, which include obviously videos. So one of the first parts, I'll go quickly through some of these online global programs, and if you have questions, please let us know. We have some time at the end for that. Option A is really one of the core, in the sense of starters as well. It allows you to have two international global websites anywhere in the world. You know, Mexico and China, Canada and UAE, wherever it is, and they are absolutely optimized and well structured SEO'd, online, digitally compliant to those markets. And there are step grants available for this, and throughout many of the states. The real difference between the option A and the option B is basically for anything that is out of scope. If you want to design something, if you want us to redesign your websites or anything like that, then that would fall under option B. It's really dependent on that. I just wanted to ask really everybody on the call today, if they are interested in having more information on the options A and B, if you're interested in getting information about the online global programs and localized websites that you can use, and also obviously the step grants that are available for those programs in the various states. They're all different according to which state it is. They're sort of different on that. But I say thank you all very, very much for voting. That was lovely and we will, if you have asked us, we will circle back to you, send you an email and see how we can help and give you more information on that. So I'm going to close that poll. Thank you very much indeed for that. And just to say that there is also grant money available through the STEP grants for the option, what we call option C and D, which is basically about international online marketing, including videos. And again, those are for any markets anywhere in the world. And we really feel it is the fastest and most cost-effective way of absolutely reaching out to your prospects and engaging with them. And that can go anything from search engine marketing to video marketing, content marketing, HubSpot integrations or not, whatever it is. It can be all tailored and cut to cloth, depending on what you want. And as I said, there is step grants available for many of the U.S. states that we work with. And I'm just going to ask the same question again. If anyone wants separate information about the online marketing side, let us know. We'll circle back to you on that. But if you're thinking about video marketing in particular and want to know, what are the parameters, what are the best platforms to use for me as a company, for our company, for this market, we can also advise you on that and say, for that market, you need to be on these platforms, and so on, and have that kind of spend and so on. The step grants do vary quite a bit depending on the states for that. And no surprise here, there's a lot of interest in that. So thank you very much again for answering that poll on that. And I guess finally we have also sort of option E, which is really just dedicated to e-commerce, and that we have again, there are step grants available for that, and those run from small e-commerce websites, again anywhere in the world, to the large ones where we have many hundreds of SKUs. I'm gonna sort of move on now to takeaways and Q&A. I've noticed that there's quite a few questions in the chat box, but please do add questions if you've got concerns on that. So just sort of rounding up and sort of our main takeaways, I guess. Anyone who's been to our webinars before knows this slide. We really just want to say, the online world is really been pushed and accelerated. All those trends and were really accelerated this year as we saw so much with video leading the front. But all of them, the number of web interactions, the number of people online, and we think that's really here to stay. Thank heavens we've all got a vaccination coming, but nevertheless we think that these are tools which companies are now integrating into a much more fuller way than in the past. It's really been pushed through as a trend. And any kind of localized website just allows you as a company to reach global markets, be found, be understood, do business anywhere in the world through these online tools, including obviously video. And I guess the video allows you to have that global reach, whatever it is. And I guess our top tips for the videos is what Ava was going through, define your buyer persona, define their buyer's journey, then tailor the video for that. A video always must have a purpose. It always has to have an objective, and that objective has to be measured in order to make sure that it's really performing well for your website. And some of the things that Ava was talking about, tips for great videos, make it short, sharp, and to the point. Get a script and a relaxed, clear messaging, and all those tips that Ava was going through in terms of your production. That to make you don't need a big budget anymore. You just need a good iPhone and the right lighting, as Ava said. So again, then finally, just to say, we do have these online global programs. If you have an interest, let us know, and we can circle back to you. And you can find out the information according to which state you are in to see what's available in terms of grant funds. And with that, I'm going to turn over the floor, as it were, for a few minutes and taking up some questions. And I want also to take the opportunity of thanking my colleagues, Ava and Andrew, for stepping in today and helping me on this webinar. It's really great, really, really valuable information from both of them. And I also really wanted to thank all of you for attending. I know it's not easy. You've all been webinared out and Zoomed out this year, so I appreciate that. A couple of questions have come in for that, and I'm just going to repeat. A couple of you have asked this already, but yes, this webinar is being recorded, and you will be sent a recording probably in about 2 days' time. So do check your inboxes. Andrew, perhaps a question for you. So where would I get information on these STEP grants for these online global programs? There's another question about STEP grants being available for all the US states. Perhaps you could combine those two questions.
Yeah, I can certainly touch on it. I think that's a really great question when it comes to STEP grants. And if you could just go to the slide before, is a great way to explain it on the state partners page. But yeah, I mean, we work with plenty of state agencies across the U.S. As you can see, this map is a very small starting point of some of the state agencies that we do work with. If you go to our website, actually, it's ibt.onl/state partners. We have this map for you. It's an interactive map where you can click on each of them that's tailored to each of the state agencies that tell you exactly what kind of STEP grants are available for you in your state. Or another way to do it that we've been able to direct people is to the CITO website. They have plenty of information that's all about growing exporters and using the STEP grants available. Of course, myself and our team over here is always helpful and always welcome to be helpful for you and trying to get you engaged with some of these state agencies that we have relationships with. As I know there's plenty of funds available as the fiscal year just started a month or two back ago, and so there's a lot of funds to be used, and specifically the STEP grant here for some of the online global programs.
Thanks, Andrew. Just while you're still there, perhaps you could answer this one as well, which is about search engine optimization and how video does that. I mean, what's the best way to can you do search engine optimization? Can you optimize a video?
Yeah, that's a really good question when it comes to SEO and videos, because ultimately when something like Google, like a search engine, takes a look at the content that is relevant to the searcher, it's hard for the actual search engine to translate what's going on in the video, what's being said, what's being shown on the screen. So there's a couple different ways that you can localize your video, and that starts with some of the tags that you use. Of course, the title that you use, it's going to be the metadata, so the description, the meta tags, some of the inner layers that you can put in aside just as a reference to tell the search engine like Google to say, hey, this is what the video is about, this is what it's going to tell the user. Google will take that information and make sure that's relevant to the searcher there.
Okay, thanks, Andrew. I guess this one for Ava as well, just on what's the single best way to start a video strategy? Where should I start? Which platform should I go on? Well, what's step one?
I would say in terms of which platform to start with, I would say that YouTube is pretty much a fantastic platform to start because it is 100% free and available to all. As Andrew described, it's in many markets, really apart from China. It's a dominant distribution platform, and you can create a channel quite easily, upload your videos to that channel very easily, and also add it. There's a editor button on the side of that where you can also add subtitles. So I think that YouTube would be a fantastic place to start. And in terms of where to start in your overall marketing, video marketing strategy, I would say, you know, as I pointed out in the slides earlier, to get your sales team together and understand the objective of the videos, and then start by making understanding your buyer persona, where they live, making your videos according to the buyer's journey, and try and make a production schedule. Like, get a production schedule going so you can see what videos you want to make when.
Yeah, absolutely. There's also a question. Also, a question has come in about do we have any information about how many people look at Instagram stories compared to Instagram feeds? There is, but I'm not sure it's a good way of understanding how companies use, how businesses use the Instagram accounts like that, because very often you're getting a double counting. People will be looking at you know, if someone's following a corporate account on Instagram, you're looking at the feeds, the reels, the IGTVs, the lots. So I think you're getting a lot of double counting for that. So, but what we can say is that Instagram, as Andrew was pointing out earlier, Instagram is a fantastic platform for companies these days, and not just for B2C companies. It has a very high engagement rate, and now with the IGTV and indeed the reels, you can actually put up some very interesting videos on those as well. Yeah, for that. So, and then the second half of that question is about putting the videos in your stories section rather than the feed. There's you know, it's debatable whether which one you want to do. We try to tend to keep them separately because that way we can measure them more easily. If you're blurring it and you're putting the video on both sides, you're going to have difficulties with the KPIs, with the key performance indicators for your marketing. So I hope that answered your question, Tom. I'm conscious of time. We promised to get you back on your desks or in your offices and your homes, wherever it is you are, within the hour. I wanted to thank again Ava and Andrew for jumping in on this and providing all this information. And most of all, thank all of you for attending. It's fantastic to see you all here. Thank you all very much indeed. We hope you have. If we don't see you before, we have, you know, we hope you have a wonderful holiday season, and get some rest. Turn off the videos, turn off the computer, get offline for at least a little tiny while before re-engaging in a wonderful, fantastic 2021. We look forward to seeing you all there. Thank you very much indeed today. Have a great holiday season. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Cool.